Hello friends. In this video, we are going to study about the recent trends in the embedded system. We will see that what are these trends and then we will study these trends in detail. So let's start with our topic. So we know that an embedded system is a combination of computer hardware and software. So we can say that it is an hardware in which the software is embedded. So hardware part is the processor which is processing all the tasks, okay, which is doing all the calculations and processing, and software part is the memory in which the data and the programs are stored, okay. So an embedded system is a processor with programs stored in RAM. So both this processor and the memory of the embedded system, they are present on a single chip. So we can say that hardware and software, it is present on a single chip. Hardware part consists of the processor, okay, and the software part, it consists of the memory in which the programs and the data is stored. So that forms the embedded system. Now in recently, we can say that virtually all the applications in which there is a digital interface, they are a type of embedded system. Examples are like the watches, microwave ovens, VCRs, car. They are all an example of the embedded system. So all the applications in which a digital interface is present in some or the other way, all those applications will be an example of the embedded system. So here we are studying about the trends in the embedded system. So the various trends present in the embedded system are: first is SoC, that is system on chip. Second is wireless technology. Third is multi-core processor. Multi-language support, user interface, use of open source technology, interoperability, automation, security, and power consumption. Okay, so these are the recent trends in the embedded system. So now we will study these trends in detail. First, we will start with the system on chip, that is SoC. We know that in the embedded system we are having the hardware and the software. So this SoC or system on a chip means that all the components or parts of the embedded system, they are present on a single chip. Okay, so complete system is there on the single chip, it is present. So we can say that system on a chip is an integrated circuit. It is an integrated circuit, that is an IC, that integrates all components of the system into a single chip. So we are on a single chip, we are having the hardware plus the software part. Okay, then what is the advantage of using this system on a chip technology? This is going to provide low power consumption. Okay, because if all the parts are present on the same system, so the power consumption will be less. If they are present apart from each other or at a distance from each other, then more power will be required for their operation. So its advantage is that it provides very low power consumptions. And the embedded systems which are in the mobile electronics market, they are mostly using this technology. Okay, that is this system on a chip form. So the next trend in the embedded system is wireless technology. By the term wireless, it means that we are making the communication without the help of any wires or cables. So wireless communication is the wireless technology. Wireless means no use of wires and cables. Now, this wireless technology, when we are saying, or wireless communication, we are saying, then all the types of the cellular communications, also the networking between the computers, computer accessories. So whenever we are saying that we are talking about the wireless technology, then it will consist of all the computers and all the devices which are including the cellular communication, involving cellular communication or involving the networking between the computers with wireless adapter and the wireless computer accessories. They will come under this wireless technology. Okay, so how in this wireless technology, wireless communication, the communication between the devices is established? It is established over air. like the radio frequencies, infrared and satellite, etc. With the help of them, the communication is being established. So in embedded systems also the wireless technology is being used, and we know that the mobiles are also a type of the embedded system. So in that, the usage of the wireless technology, because we are not using the wires and cables, so also the hardware part is being reduced, the size is reduced. Okay, so if we are using this wireless technology in the embedded system, then its performance is going to increase and complexity of the system is going to reduce, its hardware components are going to reduce. Okay, next recent trend or emerging trend in the embedded system is the multi-core processor. We know that the processor is the main part of the embedded system, which is performing all the processing, all the calculations. So if in an embedded system only a single processor is present, so it will be able to handle a limited calculations. If two processors are present, then its calculations and processing is going to increase. If more number of processors are present, then the embedded system is going to perform the complex and difficult task also. Okay, so there is a trend in the embedded systems now that two or more processors are used in the same embedded system. Okay, so in the multi-core processor on the chip, that is on the integrated circuit, the two or more processors are present. Okay, now if two or more processors are present, then it is going to increase the performance, also it is going to reduce the power consumption, and the simultaneous means multiple tasks can be performed simultaneously by the processors. Okay, so more efficient simultaneous processing of multiple tasks can be done with the help of this multi-core processor technology. So in the embedded system now, in place of a single processor, two or more processors are used on a same chip. Okay, now in this multi-core processor configuration, there will be, suppose like four processors are present, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Each processor will have its individual memory. Also, these processors will have a common shared memory between them, so that if any information is to be transferred between them, then with the help of this memory they can transfer the data. Also, they will have a bus interface for communicating with each other. And all this part, it is present on the single chip. So on a single chip, we are having the processors present. Okay, so this is the multi-core processor configuration in the embedded system. So that complete embedded system, on the chip we are having the processors, and all the other off-chip components, they will be connected with it. Okay. Now, the next trend in the embedded system is the multi-language support. So, next trend is the multi-language support. So the embedded systems, they provide us the facility of being available in different languages. Okay, so not only the languages like Hindi and English are present in these embedded system, but also different other regional languages are also present. Like for example, in the ATM machine, it uses three languages: Hindi, English and Punjabi. So the embedded systems, they are now providing us the facility of being available in multi languages. Okay. Okay, so in embedded system we are having the multiple languages facility available. Okay. Next trend is the user interface. Now in embedded system, the user is dealing with it. So if the user wants to get a display of the system, or it wants to connect it with the computers, then for the display of the system, it should have an interface so that it can communicate with the system. So there are the facility in the embedded system that the visual part of that application is being available to the user, so that the user can see the display of all the system. So visual part of the computer application. You can also see in the computers that in computers, if the user want to interact with the machine, then it has the monitor. With the help of monitor and keyboard, it is going to give the input to the system. Whatever input it is giving, it is seeing that input on the monitor. So this user interface is helping the user to communicate with the system. Okay, so visual part of the computer application or operating system, through which the user can interact with the system. Now this interface, it is going to determine that how the commands are given to the system and how the system is responding towards them. So it determines how commands are given to the computer, how information is displayed on the screen. So user interface is a communication path between the system and the user. Okay, how the user is giving the commands and how the information is displayed on the system, that is decided by this user interface. Okay. Now, when an embedded system is designed, that at the time of its designing, the designer is going to put a program in its memory. Okay, according to that program, the embedded system is going to be used for a particular application. Now, this open source technology, it provides the facility that the user can also make changes in that program code. Okay, so if any modifications, or if the user thinks that these modifications can be done in the embedded system, then it can provide its own code, its own corrections can be provided in that code. So this is the open source technology where the program code of the embedded system is available to the public, and the public can make corrections in that program code according to their requirements and according to their expectations. Okay, so this open source technology, it refers to a program in which so in this technology, it refers to a program in which the source code is available to the general public, and the general public can use that source code, or it can do the modifications in the source code according to from its original design, that is open, and it is free of cost. Okay, so it is this type of technology, or this program is going to improve the performance of the system, because if any user has given a good change in the source code, and that change can be done effectively in the system, then it is going to improve the performance of the embedded system. So performance is improved. Okay, and we can share these changes over the community. Okay, like these changes, if they can be made in some other system, then it can also be used there. So this open source technology, this program, it provides an opportunity for the users to make changes in the original source code, or in the original design of the embedded system. So that is also a recent trend coming in the embedded systems. Next is interoperability. So next trend is the interoperability. Interoperability means that there are different embedded systems present in the market. Now these embedded systems, if they can communicate with each other, if they can interact with each other, then it will be a better thing. So the ability of the systems to work with each other, to share their resources, is called the interoperability. Okay, so ability to work with each other. So interoperability is defined as the ability of the systems to work with each other. Okay, so this is going to systems, they are sharing their resources with each other without any error. So exchange of messages is done without error or misunderstanding. Suppose let's take an example of the embedded system mobiles. If there are two mobiles of different companies, then these mobiles can share their data between each other without any error. So that is called the interoperability, that the embedded systems, they are sharing their resources, their data with each other without any error or misunderstandings or any problem. Okay, so interoperability is set when the services are interacting with each other, they are sharing the resources between them. Next trend in the embedded system is automation. When we say automation, then it means that we are automating all the operations, means all the operations are going to be performed automatically, and the humans, they are not going to interfere in those operations. So human involvement is being reduced and all the processes are now made automatic. Okay, so in the embedded system, now this technology is being introduced that the processes are now automated. So because of the automation of the systems, the performance of the systems is increased, their reliability, accuracy is increased, also their efficiency of working for long hours is also increased. So in the embedded system nowadays, automation is done. So what does automation means? It refers to the use of various control systems for operating the equipment. Like machinery is used for processes in factories, switching in telephone networks, and many other applications in that the instead of the humans, now the machinery is being used, automation is being done, various control systems are done, are used for operating these equipments. Now what it helps, it saves the labor, it saves energy and materials, also quality is improved, accuracy and precision. So these are the advantages of introducing the automation in the embedded system. Automation means that we have reduced the human involvement. Now the human processes are now being performed by the machinery. Okay, and the advantages are that it is going to save the labor, energy and materials are being saved, and quality, accuracy and precision is being improved. Next trend is security. Now, whenever any embedded system is designed and then it is introduced in the market, then first of all, it is seen that whether that embedded system is secure or not. Okay, for the safety purposes also it is being checked. Also, the that how it is working, is it safe or not? So in the security part, now the embedded systems, they are provided with the security measures, and these security measures are like secure design, threat model analysis, software and code testing, and crypto implementation. So first of all, the design of the embedded system, whether it is secure or not. Design means that its architecture is there. In the architecture, it is having different components. So whether these components are safe or not, then that is done in the secure design. okay, according to the performance of the components and according to the requirements, that whether the system is safe or not for that application, it is being checked. Then threat model analysis means that the adverse conditions to which the embedded system is going to be exposed. So those conditions, for those conditions, the embedded system is first of all checked, that if the embedded system is going to face those conditions, then how it will react to them. Okay, then software and code testing is done. The software part, the programs code which are developed, those codes are tested for different conditions and then their results are being checked. After, in the crypto implementation, it is seen that whether the crypto is implemented securely and safely or not. So in the security part, whatever embedded system, like take the example of the car is also an embedded system. So in that in the car, we see that there are security and safety measures also which are taken. So that is the main part which has come up in the, which has come up now in the embedded systems, that security is also being maintained in these systems. After that, the next trend in the embedded systems is the power consumption. Now, whenever we talk about the power consumption, we see that it is related to the hardware part. But power consumption is not only related to the hardware, but it is also related with the software, that how the software is being implemented, how it is running, how much time it is taking. Okay, so power consumption is not only related with hardware but with the software also. So here it is seen that how much power it is using. Okay, because if we know that if it is using more power, then the its power consumption is being reduced, its power consumption is optimized. So through power consumption, it is possible to test and tune the system for power optimization. Okay, so if we know that the various components of the embedded system, how much power they are utilizing, and if they are utilizing more power, then the power optimization can be done in the system. So these are the different trends in the embedded system. We have seen that there are 10 recent trends in embedded system on a chip, interoperability, power consumption, multi-core processor, multi-language facility is there, then security, automation, and the power consumption. So these are the different trends in the embedded system which are now being introduced to improve its performance. Okay, so I hope that this topic is now clear to you. Thank you.